Once upon a time in a village in Scotland, there lived a curious young boy named Alexander Graham Bell. He had a twinkle in his eye and a love for all things that made sounds. Little Alexander spent his days tinkering with gadgets, making weird noises, and trying to mimic the sounds around him. You see, his mom was partly deaf, so he wanted to find ways to help her hear better. He even tried teaching his dog to talk. Imagine that. Though the dog didn't quite catch on, it showed how much Alexander loved playing with sounds. As he grew up, Alexander moved to America, a land full of big dreams. He kept thinking about ways to help people talk to each other, even when they were far apart. One day, while he was working on sending sounds through wires to help the deaf, something incredible happened. He had a big aha moment. What if those sounds could travel even longer distances? What if he could make a device that let people talk to each other, no matter how far away they were? So he got to work, using bits of metal and wires. He built a funny-looking thing and spoke into it. His assistant, Thomas Watson, heard his voice on the other end. "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," Alexander exclaimed, and his voice magically traveled through the wires. Everyone was amazed. People could talk to each other from different houses, even different towns. They laughed, they talked, and they celebrated this magical invention that Alexander called the telephone. Alexander started a company called the Bell Telephone Company, which made the telephone available to lots of people. Now they could share stories, tell jokes, and say hello with just a few words through the phone. Alexander Graham Bell became a hero of communication. His invention changed the world, bringing people closer no matter how far apart they were. And he always remembered that it all started with a curious young boy who loved playing with sounds. And so the tale of Alexander Graham Bell reminds us that big ideas can come from the simplest of things. It's a story of imagination, perseverance, and the magical power of connecting through the sound of our voices. And if you listen carefully, you might just hear the echoes of Alexander's laughter, carried on the wind, reminding us that every hello is a little bit of his genius still at work.